Rishi Sunak came out fighting. Keir Starmer said to be calmer, but perhaps warmer. Very brief summing up for you there as the British Prime Minister debated with his Labour Party challenger on a series of issues and the first live televised debate ahead of the UK election. The Prime Minister accused the opposition party of wanting to increase taxes if it wins power. Starmer portraying the Conservatives as presiding over 14 years of economic crisis. Well, first of all, let's hear from the two men.
This election is about the future, and I'm clear that I'm going to keep cutting people's taxes, as we now are. You want to put everyone's taxes up by £2,000, and this is really important. Yeah. Independent Treasury officials have costed Labour's policies, and they amount to a £2,000 tax rise for every working family. No, this is important. Mark my words. Labour will raise your taxes. It's in their DNA. Your work, your car, your pension.
Thank you. OK,
you name it, Labour will tax it.
My dad worked in a factory. He was a toolmaker. My mum was a nurse. We didn't have a lot of money when I was growing up, and we were in a position on occasion where we couldn't pay our bills. So I know how that feels. In our particular case, we had our phone cut off because we didn't have the money. So I do know the anguish of worrying when the postman comes with a bill. What is that bill going to be? Can I pay for it?
Are you saying
I don't think the Prime Minister quite understands the position that you and other people are in.
Well, for more then on that debate, I'm joined by International Affairs Editor Philip Turle. Philip, what did you make of it? I mean, it was lively, it was instructive. Is it and how actually changed public opinion?
I think tetchy is another word we could use to sum up Rishi Sunak. Sarcastic is one of the words we could use to describe Sir Keir Starmer. But I don't think there was a fatal blow in that debate which would really signify that the Conservative Party would win back enough support to win this election. If you look at the Snap poll, however, it does play more in favour of the Conservatives than Labour. There was a Snap poll just after the debate by YouGov, which found 51% in favour of Rishi Sunak, saying that he'd done a better job, 49% in favour of Sir Keir Starmer. So pretty much level pegging as far as that debate was concerned. A lot of arguments going on about taxes, as we just heard there. Also arguments about immigration. But when push comes to shove, the Conservative Party is still in a pretty bad way right now. If you look at the figures for voting intentions in the UK, they leave no doubt that Labour is not only going to win the election, but by a massive landslide, 422 seats out of a total of 650 in the Houses of Parliament. If they do manage that, that will be a complete turnaround compared to 2019, when they only won 202. That was their worst showing, Labour, since 1935. Remember when Jeremy Corbyn was the Labour leader. So it looks pretty much at the moment, according to the polls, that Labour are going to win that, with the Conservatives only on 140 seats. That is a disastrous showing for the Conservative Party. They've been in power for 14 years. The problem is that whatever Keir Starmer tries to do, it doesn't seem to work. He's proposed everything from tax cuts for pensioners, capping immigration in line with a limit on visas and family grouping or national service. These are all voter concerns in the US, but whatever the Conservatives try to propose, it doesn't seem to change the fact that people have had enough of the Conservatives and they're now willing to vote for the Labour Party.
What is it about Labour, then, that's led to such an increase in support, do you think?
Well, I think basically, Stuart, it's just that. It's 14 years of Conservative rule. We've had 5 Prime Ministers, David Cameron, we've had Theresa May, Boris Johnson, then also that Prime Minister for only 6 weeks by Liz Truss. She left a £30 billion hole in the finances, and now Rishi Sunak. I think there's fatigue also over all the lying that went on during the time that Boris Johnson was in control, the fact that Brexit hasn't worked out as many people thought it would when they voted in favour of it. There are concerns about the National Health Service and the way that the Tories have handled that over the last 14 years. I think all of these elements together have made it that people want to see Labour in charge. So it's Keir Starmer who is now the man who looks set to take over number 10. So not many people know much about him. He's 61 years old. He's been Labour leader since 2021. He's the MP for Holborn and St Pancras. Those are both in London. And he was the former Director of Public Prosecutions. There is something, though, that he should be a little bit concerned about, and that is that even though he looks destined to win and the Labour Party to win the election, he to become Prime Minister as Labour leader, fewer voters think Labour is fit to govern better now than they did 10 years ago in 2014. Fewer think it has a good team of leaders, and fewer think it understands the UK's problems. They say it's more disgust with the Tories than a delight of what Labour offers that is driving the politics in the UK right now.
We've got another rocket thrown into the mix, if that's the right way of putting it. On Monday, the former UKIP leader, Nigel Farage, announced he's going to stand at the election for the Anti-Immigration Reform UK Party in a Eurosceptic seat in the southeast of England, this is. What impact do you think it's going to have?
Right, well, that seat is in Clacton, and just for your information, that's where they have a vast majority of people over 65 and a small number of graduates. It was a Brexit stronghold back in 2016. It's a seaside resort. So that's what Nigel Farage is going for there in a bid to try to get elected. Well, he received a milkshake in the face yesterday from a couple of people in the street who've since been arrested. So he's kind of controversial figure in the UK. Remember, Nigel Farage was the leader of the Brexit debate. He was taken as being a bit of a joker back in the early 2000s, but that managed in the end to go through and Britain to leave the European Union. So he now is taking control of Reform UK. That was formerly the Brexit Party. It has about 30,000 members, and the polling percentage given to it right now is about 8%. So that is not good news for the Tories. It's not good news for the Conservatives, because the Conservatives can see their support being whittled away by Reform UK, more the Conservatives than the Labour Party. So that's another concern for Rishi Sunak and the Conservatives. And on top of that, Nigel Farage has been very vociferous over the last couple of days, saying that what he wants to do is basically to take control of the Conservative Party, to be the new opposition in the UK opposite Labour. And another thing he said he wants to do is also to renegotiate Brexit, to renegotiate the Northern Ireland Protocol when all those discussions come up for discussion again in 2025. So I think that there is a lot to be concerned about. And one other point that Nigel Farage has said is that he wants to bring in immigration zero. That's something that will not be easy to do for the UK.
Philip Turle, thanks very much. Philip Turle, International Affairs Editor here on France 24.